So let's continue. So I'm now in the phase of doing my inner work, trying to shift my energy to the higher level, right? So I am now in the self discovery mode. And what I discovered is that this is the same wound that's getting triggered when I was little. That's how my life story happened. My father never came to me. I was like always waiting for him. I didn't know the whole truth about my parents' relationship. So subconsciously, I formed this belief, and I didn't even know I formed it, but that's how it was formed, that I am not good enough. I'm not worthy of love because he doesn't come to me. Okay, that's just ridiculous stuff now that I know this, but that's how it was. So once you are in that self-discovery mode and you arrive at that core wound, which are typically, it's the fears. Just look up like child core wounds, and it's all fear-based. So it's that fear of not being worthy of love, right? So then you're like, oh, okay, so that's where it's coming from. I now understand better. So all these my life relationships, like my first ex-husband when he decided to divorce me, and now my twin flame, doing this on me, there's a pattern. There's a clear pattern, and it's the same underlying wound that's getting triggered. It's about me not having father in my life and waiting for him, and he is not coming. So then somehow I feel I'm not good enough for his love. I'm not good enough for his coming to me, right? So this is now in the self, you're now going into the self understanding step. So you start understanding yourself. Okay, so that's where it's coming from. So all these subconscious thoughts that I'm not good enough, that I'm kind of subconsciously feeding myself, that's where it's stemming from. From that time, when I was that little girl that thought, the dad is working abroad and he's supposed to come, but he's not coming. So somehow I got that twisted perception that it has to do with me. But does it really have to do with me? No. I'm good enough. I'm kind enough. I'm beautiful enough. I'm enough, as is. Self-understanding. That's where it's all coming from. All these thoughts, the negative thought patterns, the emotions, that's what's getting triggered in your emotional body. Like if you imagine your emotional body as like, let's say like a gray cloud now, right? Because you're not clear yet in that energy. Those wounds are still there. It's gray. So you're shedding the light onto that, right? Onto that area. And so now the cloud starts disappearing. It starts lightening up because you're now understanding. That's what it is about. Okay, I understand now. I understand myself. And then you start understanding, others too, because, you're doing this work on yourself, but in return, you're also understanding others. And the more of my story got kind of like explained to me, my parents didn't know any better. They felt like, that was the right thing just to tell her the dad, he works abroad, and they never told me the truth that no, your dad is actually, he has another family, he's married, and that's just what it is. But these are warped up perceptions that were formed in my mind, and the feelings that were sitting there all this time. I'm 48 now, so since probably when I was becoming aware of myself, maybe 6-7 years old. So 40 years, right? 40 years of messed up perceptions and feelings stuck, right? So now I'm understanding things. Okay, so we're moving to the next step of self-love. Okay, I understand now. That's what happened. My parents didn't know any better. I didn't know any better. That's how it got formed. That's how I started believing subconsciously that I'm not worthy of love. I'm not good enough. That's why probably subconsciously, it was kind of driving my life experiences, because I had a lowered self-esteem, and always tried to be liked and loved, and whichever people, of course, like you fall in love and stuff, but you don't have like those higher boundaries, house self standards, because you just want to be liked, right? Because I wanted to be loved and liked by my father, so I had those lower standards for myself. And not necessarily only that, it's also just not knowing where it's coming from, and just keeping repeating the same pattern of this kind of relationship dynamic, and always feeling that something is wrong with me, right? So now that I am understanding, I'm now doing a lot of self-love and self-healing exercises by journaling and writing that perception, that thought, I'm not good enough. It doesn't serve me anymore. I'm going to release it. I know I'm good enough. I know I'm good as I am. And I'm going to now just love myself a little bit more. I'm going to work on releasing these feelings of not feeling good enough, not worthy of love. I'll just consciously start releasing it and start forgiving myself and my parents for this experience. It's just an experience. It's just a lesson, right? So now I'm just working on self-love by doing conscious releasing of those thoughts, negative thoughts patterns, and all those low feelings. I'm just like releasing them. I'm doing my work, my affirmations, working on self-love. And then you arrive at the next step, which is the self-transformation. Because now you are aware, and you explored, you understood, you found your answers. You are now doing lots of self-love inner work. You are now transforming yourself. So that's what you're doing. You are healing your own self. You are healing your inner wounds, your emotional wounds and your mental wounds. You are doing it. You are transforming. So your energy is, guess what, is now shifting. That energy body cloud is clearing. The mental body cloud is clearing. You are literally getting lighter inside. And your energy starts to shift. You start feeling lighter. That's that feeling. And then you arrive at that last step of self-mastery. Now you see the whole picture together. That's what it is about. I am now my own master. I am my own healer. I am my own hero. All I have to do is to practice this daily with patience and love towards myself. I have the intent to change, and I am aware of myself. I am aware of my reactions, my emotions, my feelings, my thoughts. I am always shifting focus to my own self. Yes, when people say mean things, when they do wrong acts, it doesn't feel good, but I'm using it as a tool to explore in my own self. So guess what? After I did this exercise, and I have arrived that it all stemmed from that childhood wound of not being worthy of love of my father, not feeling good enough for the love, my energy shifted. Then I saw everything in the other light, that my twin flame dumping me had nothing to do with me. I am good as is. I'm good enough. I'm worthy of love. It had to do with him, because he is not ready to come to me. Something is holding him hostage. It has nothing to do with me. Through doing my inner work, I understood him, and I gave him space to figure out his own stuff. Okay? I hope it helped. Blessings.